Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and as we've been reporting for quite some time, the Israeli government and the U.S. government have a suspicious amount of say in what is happening at the protests in Iran, which of course have been going viral across the board, and a lot of people are utilizing this as a reason to go to war with Iran. How convenient in this timing. Iran's Khamenei says U.S.-Israel links behind thousands killed in protests. Now, this isn't just someone saying this off the top of their head. We have an abundance of evidence, and now we have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent boasting about how U.S. sanctions deliberately devalued Iran's currency, and this is why Iranians took to the streets, as many might know. It's over an economic crisis that they claim is why this is happening. Let's hear what he says here.
What do you want to say about sanctions, something else you've been working on?
Said the World Economic
Forum. Of course. What are you planning there in terms of Iran and the impact there? Do sanctions actually work? And the same question with regard to 500% secondary sanctions or tariffs on countries who purchase energy products from Russia.
Okay, so two things there. There are Treasury sanctions, and if you look at a speech that I gave at the Economic Club of New York last March, I said that I believe the Iranian currency was on the verge of collapse, that if I were an Iranian citizen, I would take my money out. President Trump ordered Treasury and our OFAC division, Office of Foreign Asset Control, to put maximum pressure on Iran, and it's worked. Because in December, their economy collapsed. We saw a major bank go under. The central bank has started to print money. There is a dollar shortage. They are not able to get imports, and this is why the people took to the street. So this is economic statecraft. No shots fired, and things are moving in a very positive way here.
No shots fired, he says. No shots fired. Okay, but can we consider the fact that they claim that now 16,000 plus are dead due to these protests, which he is now alluding to that they created in the first place via a monetary false flag? By the way, this is exactly what the Redcoats did to the Yankees back in the Revolutionary War in order to devalue the currency to cause bankruptcy among Congress in the early days of 1776. So this is something that we've seen historically multiple times. It's what we saw attempted in Libya and in Iraq and all these places, and people keep saying it's not the same. And for a while, people were saying, oh, well, it's not the same. When you say that Iraq and Iran, it's a similar situation, it's not the same. Well, I detailed every detail that shows it is exactly the same, by the way. And people that said that they were backing Trump's idea of going into Iran and attacking Iran said it's not the same. Well, then all this information came out, and Trump himself said, you know, I'm thinking about pulling back because we don't want another Iraq. Even he says it, and now people go, oh, yeah, he's genius. We don't want another Iraq. They're just changing with the temperature, my friends. So, again, I'm going to go into this. We have a lot more details today on what exactly is happening. I mean, they're finding Israeli bullets found inside the bodies of Iranian children killed in the riots. This is absolutely crazy. We have the Israeli government boasting about controlling these protests and how this would help them eventually go to war with Iran. Before I get into it, my friends, I urge people to check those links below. A really important one that people should check out is heavensharvest.com. The whole idea of all of this, order out of chaos, is to push us into a place of crisis where they can force ration food on us in a digital ID system with CBDCs. If you go to heavensharvest.com, you could use code WHAM and save 25% on your order. This is an amazing deal. For long-term storable foods that are non-GMO, there's organic kits, there's obviously heirloom seeds, water filtration storage, books on how to get started. There's freeze-dried food. This is how you prepare yourself today. So please get on this. Don't wait until it's too late. Also, check out WaveWatch 2.2. Pre-order today, 1,250 frequencies. If you use code WHAM, W-A-M, you'll save over $100 on this watch. No Wi-Fi required, no Bluetooth or EMFs, no apps. It helps you soothe your nerves, boost energy, enhance cellular function, improve sleep. And it's endorsed by people like Dr. Brian Ardis and Dr. Motley. So this will be released very soon. I'm really looking forward to it. But the WaveWatch 2.2, you can get it today. Again, that's code WHAM, W-A-M. The link is in the description. Make sure to like, share, and, of course, hit the notification button and hit subscribe if you haven't yet on places like Rumble and BitChute at World Alternative Media. Now, let's get into this. So, Iran's Khamenei says U.S.-Israel links behind thousands killed in protests. The country's supreme leader says foreign-backed protests caused massive damage and killed several thousand. Now, people keep saying this is a conspiracy theory, and of course he's saying that. And by the way, I want to be abundantly clear before I dig further into this. This is no endorsement of the Iranian government. The Iranian government's terrible, as was the Israeli U.S.-backed government before, when the United States committed their 1953 military coup, which led to the SAVAK police, which the secret police who murdered people, tortured people, disappeared people. This is not this versus that. It's not what about this or what about that. It's all bad. The Iranian government is not good, but the CIA and Mossad controlling the Iranian government is that much worse. The more we continue to fall for these coups, the more we'll see the world fall into disarray as designed. So anyway, let's go further into what is actually being said here, because Khamenei says that the U.S. is behind these thousands killed in the protests. Of course, stories across the board are saying that, 16 to 20,000 people have been killed in these protests, though a lot of AI images have been shared, a lot of images that were from other events worldwide, including some images from riots in the United States were shared. We keep seeing this kind of stuff happen. But, of course, we have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying and boasting that the U.S. sanctions themselves deliberately devalued Iran's currency, and this is why Iranians took to the streets. This is pure evil. This is currency devaluation and a coup on another country, utilizing the thing that affects people most in life is money, so people starve. And then it leads to these massive blow up, protests. And again, I'm not saying there's no grassroots to these protests. Of course there is. There's massive. There's like 100,000 people in Canada recently protesting. One of the biggest protests ever in Canada over this. There's no doubt that, but there's also a lot of people that aren't Iranian that are just following along with the narrative. And of course, with that, we have people that are falling prey to the regular propaganda and also carrying Israeli flags at these Iranian protests. So a lot of the people, by the way, who were against Iran or against Israel before are suddenly carrying Israeli flags as like carrying water for the Iranians, for the Shah, who has admitted on video he doesn't know any Iranians. He's lived his whole life in the United States and is backed by Israel, and openly says that Israel wants to put him in place in Iran. He's said this in interviews. I mean, it's not inconspicuous here. It's pretty out in the open. So they're not trying to be subtle about it. Anyway, so we have this information coming out about how Israeli bullets are being found inside the bodies of Iranian children killed in riots, according to a report. The Cradle shared this report. And I think it's important, but I want to read what I wrote on X at World Alt Media. Make sure to follow us there, by the way. We're super shadow banned. So, as I wrote on X, Israel and the U.S. government have been boasting about manipulating these protests. Ask yourself what the chances are, considering all the coups Israel has been involved in, that just after tensions died down following Israel and the United States' attack on Iran, suddenly all of these historic protest stories come out. They're literally waving Israeli flags at much of these protests. If you fall for it, give your head a shake. Again, this is something that is openly acknowledged. I mean, this isn't me making up some crazy conspiracy theory. Israeli minister, I think his name was Eliyahu. He was the heritage minister. The Israeli minister says agents operating in Iran amid protests. An Israeli minister has claimed that Israeli agents are operating within Iran amid mass protests triggered by the country's economic woes. And again, those economic woes were caused by the United States. Imagine that. Mike Pompeo, as I've reported, says Happy New Year to every Iranian in the street, also to every Mossad agent walking beside them. He's openly acknowledged that Mossad's in the crowd. They're burning down mosques. They're working with the anti-Palestinian groups. They actually attacked one of the pro-Palestinian organizations in Tehran. I mean, if that doesn't have the blueprints, the fingerprints of Israel all over it, I don't know what is, but what does. But Mike Pompeo is openly saying that Mossad is there. He's a former CIA director, which means he worked with Mossad a lot. So we have both an Israeli minister, we have Mike Pompeo, we have the Israeli media saying this, We have bullets found inside bodies of Iranian children from Israel. And, you know, I've been talking about this for a really damn long time. Here's a post of mine from January 15th, 2012 about when it comes to Ahmadinejad, the former president of Iran. I said, what he says here is true. What he says is true here. Whether he believes what he says is impossible to say, but he speaks of facts. I've always maintained that it's wrong to trust any one government, though if I were to pick a side that I think would be more honest than the other, I would say the Iranian government would probably be telling the truth over the U.S. The Iranian government is extremely corrupt, but it doesn't even come close to the dishonesty and world domination projected by the U.S. government. It was in response to the United States trying to manipulate and collapse Iran. And this has been going on for a very long time. I've been talking about it for a very long time. And the whole idea is, of course, I don't trust them. But if I'm going to pick one, I don't like doing this. And actually, I probably wouldn't say the same thing today because I just don't like playing that game. But it's the country that attacked over 100 countries in 100 years and actually dropped nukes, allegedly, on places like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Or the country that attacked 2 countries ever in the last 200 years, and those 2 countries were Israel and the United States last year in retaliation for being bombed themselves. I don't know. Which one would I trust more? Now, again, I don't like playing those games. I wouldn't say that today, but just to justify what I'm trying to explain here. So it's interesting. I was going through some posts. I have a lot. I've done videos on this. I've been talking about Iran since 2006 because I was traumatized by what I saw with Iraq. So, I mean, that's a 13-year-old post right there, and a 14-year-old post now. I guess it's 2026. I should do math. And this also connects to another thing I've been talking about for a while, because Mario Nawfal, who's just sharing pro-Israeli propaganda 24 hours on Iran, which is brutal. That's how you get propped up by the algorithm, I guess, because I'm totally hidden by it. I'll get like 250 views on a video in 24 hours, despite having 33,200 followers on X. Mario Nawfal says, report, Iran used chemical weapons on protesters. By the way, the photo is not of that. It's from a 2021 protest in Minnesota, again. But it says, GB News, citing Iranian sources, regime forces deployed chemical weapons against demonstrators. It confirmed that crossing every line, chemical weapons on civilians is a war crime banned globally since 1925. Syria did it and got bombed for it. No, they didn't. Can't independently verify yet. Internet's still down. Information flow fully controlled by the regime. So all the information you're getting then is from the Israeli government? Okay, great. That's trustworthy. This would give Trump and Israel a justification for immediate strikes under international law. That's the point, you moron. These people, these fake alternative medias piss me off so much. As I wrote on X, heard this with Syria in 2017 and 2018 also, and it was proven to be a lie, made up by the CIA and U.S. government in an attempt to drive opposition. H.R. McMaster ended up acknowledging that they never had any evidence of it. So here we go again. And by the way, that's regarding like reports I did back in April of 2017 and April of 2018. In April of 2017, initially, we got information that Rex Tillerson said that he's no longer going to go after he's no longer going to go after Syria, no longer go after Assad. He's going to help support Assad. And of course, 3 days later to the day, suddenly we hear that Assad has dropped chemical bombs on his own people. Really? Why would he do that? Shoot himself in the foot? There's never any evidence of this. Assad said he didn't do it. I said 3 days before this happened, when Rex Tillerson made this announcement that this was going to lead to a false flag. It did. And then, of course, 1 year later to the day, the Pentagon said they're no longer going after Assad. So what happens 3 days later to the day again? Another chemical attack on people there. And you have CNN going there where apparently it's extremely toxic air and people's skins falling off. And they're walking around looking at the dead bodies. And you see some of the dead bodies wincing and moving. So it's BS. I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't serious attacks there. Obviously there were. But I don't think it was Assad. And I think that there was a lot of fake newscasts around this. Think of Charles Jaco back in the Gulf War. Again, it's infuriating, but I made videos on it at the time, including this one, another false flag chemical attack in Syria. Again, this one was from, and I couldn't find my 2017 ones on YouTube. You guys could probably find it by looking up Syria. I'm an open book on here, but April 8th, 2018 was this one. And let's see, I got this one, which is very important, from April 7th, 2018. And this is something that I've been talking about for a very long time, which has come to fruition recently. This is how they do the coups. It's called Exposed 1980s CIA Document Confirms U.S. Plot to Destroy Syria. I've talked about this on the channel a few times. There's a paper called Bringing Real Muscle to Bear Against Syria. It's from the CIA. So it says here, I wrote this article back then. It says one document called Bringing Real Muscle to Bear in Syria from 1983 talks about covertly orchestrating simultaneous military threats against Syria from 3 border states hostile to Syria: Iraq, Israel, and Turkey. A 1986 document called Syria Scenarios of Dramatic Political Change goes further in depth as to how the destabilization of Syria must be done, including staging coups against the government and causing uprising of Sunnis against Alawis, so that would be Alawites. It literally gives a step-by-step guide on how to create a problem, get a reaction, then apply a solution, which would be a puppet government, with the United States reaping the benefits of such a puppet government. Without explicitly saying false flags, the document most definitely examines the possibility. And again, this is exactly what ended up happening 1 year ago, back in January of 2025. We saw the Assad government overthrown, with people coming in from the same borders that they mentioned there, and then they start torturing and murdering Christians and Alawites in the region. And now there's bombing campaigns going on, and Israel taking over. And this is, by the way, after Jolani, now named al-Shara, who just met Trump in the White House, a known terrorist who was one of the FBI's most wanted and beheaded people, went in with the support of Israel and the U.S. government under the slogan of HTS, formerly al-Nusra Front, and, of course, takes over the country exactly as the CIA document I talked about back in 2018 said, which, of course, is from the 80s. So, again, this was scripted long ago. I've tried to explain to people all these things are scripted. The only difference in this one was instead of Assad Sr., it was Assad Jr. And, again, it doesn't mean that magically I love Assad. It just means that I don't think the U.S. government should be manipulating these countries because it always ends in murder. Iraq led to more than 2 million deaths. I mean, how much does it take to get through people's heads? It's so frustrating. But alas, people are really happy to be on their knees, punished regularly. Everything's different this time. Have hope. Have hope for this. Hopium. A powerful and dangerous drug. I mean, look at this, like this obvious propaganda. This is the handprints of those massacred by the mullahs. Grotesque. I wrote, yeah, how realistic. Rolls eyes. I mean, really? They all perfectly put their bloody handprint on this electrical box? Okay. Maybe I'm a complete dick and it's totally true and it's all real and I am a horrible person for that. But, like, first of all, they're all the same hand. There's the same hand size. And it's the same hand over and over again with blood on this thing. Oh, look at this. Look what the mullahs did. They killed this person, obviously, who's weirdly, like, at a weird angle, almost upside down. He's obviously standing and going boom, boom, boom. It's so fake. It's so fake. But alas, I could be wrong again. And I'll get in a bunch of trouble for this with the algorithms on a lot of these places. I wrote on X here, and I think it's important that people look at this. Again, follow us there at World Alt Media. I wrote, no one finds it strange that after years of Israel calling for the destruction of Iran, half a year after they attacked Iran, suddenly Iran has a revolution that leads to tens of thousands of deaths while the Israeli government admits they have Mossad in the crowds manipulating the protests? That's not weird to other people? People honestly can't put 2 and 2 together. Suddenly, there's international calls for regime change due to a historic genocide that happens directly after these calls for war died down. How dim are people these days? It's like a badly written Netflix show. And Glenn Greenwald posted this, and I think it's important to read. If you opposed U.S. regime change in Iraq, you loved Saddam. If you opposed U.S. regime change in Libya, you loved Gaddafi. If you oppose U.S. financing of the war in Ukraine, you love Putin. If you oppose U.S. regime change in Iran, you love the mullahs. Beyond stale at this point. Absolutely. I can't believe how many so-called libertarians are supporting this right now. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because people always fall for whatever, the latest thing is. But it's so insane. And the balls on someone to be from like a country like the United States, which, again, has killed millions, has bombed more people than any, like 100 plus countries in the last 100 years. I'm sure that's a record. And then for them to endorse what Israel's doing in Palestine, Jared Kushner at the World Economic Forum, in Moscow, just released his plan for the new Palestine, where it's just resorts everywhere with Trump's name on it. I mean, can people read the crowd? Seriously. And again, the people that are falling for this, and I know a lot of people that were always against all this kind of stuff, suddenly, this is different. The CIA and Mossad are still running the shows. MI6 is still running the shows. Overnight, Trump, he's not coming in and going, I'm just going to overthrow the entire establishment while covering up for Epstein, promoting Israel, pushing billions into AI, actually about $1 trillion, pushing Palantir warfare technology and Terminator drones across the board, pushing digital IDs and real ID, but digital IDs in places like Missouri are coming out, giving $70 billion to big pharma like Pfizer to help them stay immune from lawsuits. I mean, yeah, this is a guy who's anti-establishment, putting cameras up on every highway on the interstates and, of course, in cities with facial recognition to analyze through AI pre-crime data and have license plate readers to decide if people are suspicious for driving down a different street one day. Maybe they want to go get food somewhere else. I don't know. Or demanding that you have to show 5 years of social media history to enter the United States, which is literally social credit, which is literally what the World Economic Forum is doing. And it's exactly why I've been talking about this. It's a collapse of one world order into a new world order. And that new world order is based on emergency orders, bringing in technocracy and a cashless society and digital IDs and food rations and social credit. It's so frustrating. This time is different. This time with Iran, it's different. Israel said they had weapons of mass destruction, just like they did. Netanyahu talked to Congress back in 2002 about how Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, which led to that myth, which led to the attacks on Iraq. I have a book behind me called A Deadly Betrayal by Dennis Fritz, which goes into that. It's like we'll never learn. Now Israel's saying that they there's a video from 2018, Netanyahu saying next we're going to get Greenland. He's the one who brags about how he talked Trump into going into Venezuela. Now they're seizing Russian oil tankers. It's part of the dollar hegemony system and the Greater Israel Project and the shift from the west to the east, which I've talked about so many times. More news here. So we have Israeli protesters attempting to break into Netanyahu's home. This guy said they need regime change. Bomb them now. Forget Iran. I love the Israelis more. Let's save them. Bomb Israel. Topple the regime. We are with you, Israel. Yeah, this is exactly. It's hilarious. This is the logic. So these guys are trying to march on Netanyahu's house, and we have Israelis doing this. Does that mean that we need to do regime change in Israel and bomb the country and kill possibly thousands to millions of people in order to shift the regime? And by the way, if we see actual bombing campaigns in Iran, it'll be way worse than Iraq. Way worse. I believe. I mean, it's a much more powerful country than Iraq ever was. And Iraq was a pretty powerful country. And they were a very, I don't want to say peaceful because that sounds a little absurd. Look at all these, Iran is a very interesting country. And there's videos everywhere of women without their hijabs on. This idea that you cannot go walk down the street without a hijab. I get it. The Iranian Revolution in 1979 was bad and brought them back in time a little bit. But generally, I mean, they of course are going to fight back by design against the Israeli-American regime with the Shah, which was installed in 1953, because they're arresting and disappearing people constantly. I mean, I could see why people were against that. Now, again, which one's better? These whataboutisms are stupid. The main point is if they go in and overthrow the regime, you will see death across the board. One of the top allies of Russia and China. It's not going to be good. And I mean, it just takes one more domino to fall with this these invasions of other countries around the world by the Trump administration, just like it was with Obama and Bush and Clinton, and yes, to some degree with Biden, though Biden was, I don't know, just too busy getting his diaper changed and, having AutoPen sign off on things for him. But they're all puppets anyway. But, I mean, we're only a few dominoes away with Trump from it going nuclear worldwide. And by design, because they need the pretext. The world order needs, the shadow government needs a pretext in order to shift from the West to the Eastern order, which is what Mark Carney is talking about when he says he's declaring a new world order. If you haven't seen my videos on that, he explains it after when the press asked him, which I went over in my video showing the clip, where he talks about it's about finance and supply chain and, housing and culture and all this stuff. It's all collateralized under one roof with the social credit score on a digital ID. This is the idea. This is what a global technocracy is. Now, meanwhile, Israel is raining bombs on civilian homes in South Lebanon right now. Resident homes, not military sites. Absolutely horrifying. And they claim there's a ceasefire in Lebanon, but they say they're not going against the ceasefire by bombing them, which involves firing, which you're supposed to seize. But everything's oxymoronic with this. 3 journalists killed in Israeli airstrike in Gaza, including cameraman who worked with CBS News. As I wrote with that, because there's a ceasefire there apparently too. Israel has a strange way of defining ceasefire. And, of course, they're bombing villages in Syria right now. This whole Iranian thing is going to kick things off to the next level, but everything else is practice. Remember, the finance minister in Israel, Smotrich, for quite some time before January of last year, in the months leading up, I reported on it, I warned about it. He said he wanted to get into Syria next. It's part of the Greater Israel Project, which is literally on the uniforms of a lot of these Israeli soldiers, these IDF. And I said, they're going after Syria next. There's no doubt about it. That's their pathway to Iran. And that's exactly what happened January of 2025. And then, next, I said, okay, well, now it's a pathway to Iran. July of 2025, we saw that persist. June and July, I should say. So I'm not just throwing things in the air here saying maybe this might happen, and if one of them gets right, I'll say I'm right. These things are all not just possibilities, they're inevitable eventually. Because when they say what they're going to do, believe them, because they rarely lie about what they're going to do next. Sometimes the timing's a little bit off, but they will do what they say they're going to do. Look at the World Economic Forum right now. They're openly acknowledging what they're going to do to you next. And it's so frustrating to see people fall into it. Oh, well, Trump is trying to destroy this establishment and the world order here. Yeah, to create the new one. That's how you get a new world order. You have to end the old one first. Then that's what Mark Carney's doing at the same time. That's a push for BRICS and the new world reserve currency system, the destruction of the hegemony system as we know it. That's a move into technocracy and AI and all this kind of stuff we're seeing around the world. And the old world order ends with chaos and militarism, because the old world order, starting in the 90s, was based in militarism. And then it ends with militarism. And then under the guise of national security, protection, and convenience, they come in with the technocratic one, which completely bankrupts humanity down to its core, which was always a goal, because a war was always on humanity, not on any specific culture, race, religion, nationality, whatever it might be. It was on humanity itself to destroy the basis of humanity, which is independence, individualism, self-responsibility, freedom. So everything we're seeing right now is a wind up to that. And when it comes to the destruction of the old world order, yeah, they need this to move into the new one. And eventually, you will own nothing and you will be happy, which both sides of the paradigm support, as we've seen. So, as the World Economic Forum goes on right now, and they basically tell us what they're going to do next, and we have at the World Economic Forum, officials like Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent boasting about how they are using economic means in order to do this. Imagine what they're doing to you. Imagine the war they're at with you economically. So, as I close this off, I hope to God that people take this seriously and actually get prepared. We have links in the description. This isn't about promos. I make nothing off this, but I want people to know this. Firstnationalbullion.com/schedule-consult/ has to be that exact link, the exact link there, to get out of the banking system that's going to control you into that digital society as they go bankrupt, as we see inflation skyrocket, and as people flee to gold and silver and there's shortages across the board. Please take this seriously. Go and buy physical gold, silver, platinum, or palladium. Hold it in your hands. Put it in a vault or put it in an IRA outside of the traditional IRA system. Schedule an appointment for a free consultation with Mark Gonzalez, who, again, we do many videos with. And you can see our latest one, WEF announces Cashless Society, over on Rumble and BitChute and YouTube and other places. And of course, you'll also get a complimentary investors package when you sign up. Let him know in the comments of the forum when you sign up that you found him at World Alternative Media, or WAM, W-A-M. Highly recommend people go and check that out today. Again, this is just me giving people solutions, and it's very important to me that people actually take this seriously. Another one that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, heavensharvest.com, 25% off if you use code WAM, W-A-M, because they want to starve you out so you eat their poisonous rations later on in that digital ID social credit system. Go there and you can get long-term storable foods that are non-GMO. There's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started, freeze-dried food. Use code WAM, again, W-A-M, and that's 25% off on your order. So highly recommend people do that today. Also, we're under attack by bad frequencies. I urge people to go and check out WaveWatch 2.2. Pre-order today. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you'll get over $100 off. No, 1,250 frequencies. Like I said, fast-acting wellness support, up to 18-hour battery life. No Wi-Fi required, no Bluetooth, no EMFs, no apps required. Soothes your nerves, boosts energy, enhances cellular function, improves sleep, and it's endorsed by people like Dr. Motley and Dr. Brian Artist. So go and check that out below, my friends. Community is important, so also check out anarchapulco.com. Anarchapulco 2026, February 15th to 20th, 2026, in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where I live. I'll be speaking there. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you'll get 10% off on your tickets, my friends. Now, I'm not the only one speaking there. Max Egan, David Icke, Jeff Burke are speaking there. Stu Peters, Dr. Andrew Kaufman, Gareth Icke. Again, we have Patrick Enningson. We got Vit Jedlicka and Dan Dix. And we have Curtis Stone. So many amazing people. Charlie Robinson, a good friend of ours. Of course, we have Ernest Hancock and Christian Yordanov. And again, like I said, I'll be speaking there. I urge people to go and check that out below. That's anarchapulco.com. Code WAM, W-A-M. Now, as we are about to close this off, I do urge people to be healthy in the face of all this. VNI.life/WAM, W-A-M, is in the description below. There you could get a bunch of super supplements today. And when you go to that link, you could use code WAM15, W-A-M-15, and you will get 15% off your order. You could actually just get 20% off your order if you go through our link and subscribe, as is mentioned there as well. And there's things like Protovite, which has 100 plus vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. I highly recommend people check this out. Before and after, look at the circulatory issues. Red blood cells are dormant, lost negative charge. White blood cells are tiny before. And then if you look at 5 minutes after taking Protovite, red blood cells are freely flowing. The negative charges are stored, and white blood cells are 4 times their size. So again, I highly recommend people check this out. This usually takes a month to do, and it takes 5 minutes with Protovite. So go and check that out below. And anyway, I urge people to help support us if you can. GoGetFunding.com. Thank you to those who have donated in the past. We really, truly need your help right now, my friends, really badly. We have GoGetFunding.com, Patreon, and Subscribestar. If you pledge $4.99 a month or more, you'll get exclusive content, including video messages directly to you privately if you have any questions that you want to ask us. We have a PayPal address, ancientwonderstelevision@gmail.com. We have a Bitcoin address that you can scan on the screen here or check out in the description below in text form. And we have a Cointree link with a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that you could donate in if you please, including privacy coins. Of course, we have a Teespring store with a bunch of merchandise as well. I urge people to find us on Telegram, Band.video, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, and Brighteon at World Alternative Media. Subscribe to as many of them as you can because we need all the help we can get backing us up because we're shadow banned by a lot of sites and we're going to be taken down by a lot more sites in the future. So it's just important. Of course, we have Hive, Steemit, and Vigilante.tv at Josh Sigurdson. The bad guys, TikTok and Instagram, World Alternative Media, Twitter and Getter at World Alt Media, and all the major podcast platforms except for Spotify, where, of course, we're banned. Hit that like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, and hit subscribe if you have not yet already. And as always, my friends, live freely, live by example. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.